We are joined by attorney Jeff O'Brien for our weekly 3 and Out, usually, and it is today, 3 sports stories. And this one we're going to start with the talk of the GOAT. And the GOAT of all sports might be actually a horse. The greatest of all time might be an HORSE. Because, Jeff, as you know, in the Kentucky Derby, every participant could be traced back to the great Secretariat, whose records stand today for what he did in those 3 races, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and, of course, the Belmont when he won by like 31 lengths or whatever. I always forget which one it is, 31, 26, but put it this way, he kicked butt. In that. And you just had a great line about it that if we count a horse as an athlete, which he was, who's ever been better and trounced the opposition the way he did?
No, it's funny. You've got, like I said off the air, Mike. There's no basketball team running around completely comprised of Michael Jordan's kids.
Exactly. I'll tell you,
LeBron's got 1 kid on his team, but this is not the same race. This is an entire horse race. Of descendants of Secretariat, and you mentioned about the 3 Triple Crown races that he won back in the day. Thanks to YouTube, anybody go out and look. I think it was the Belmont. I think that was the last one where he won by 31 lengths or something. It was a rout. It was an absolute rout. Absolutely.
Now here's I am a believer of this. The horse that won the other day of the Secretariat lineage was Sovereignty, right? Which I think that's a great. I'm a big believer that the name of the horse it counts for something. I think, you go back the Triple Crown. When you look at the Triple Crown winners, none of them were named. Bill. You know what I mean? They all had really. I think they all had really good, strong names. Like, what was the last one? Last one was what? Was it American Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Which that's a pretty good name, right?
Yep.
But when you go back to the ones that going back to the very first one, Sir Barton. That's a great name. That was 1919. The next one, Gallant Fox. Another great one, right? All right, and then you got the next one. You've got Gallant Fox, Omaha, War Admiral. What a great name for a horse. Whirlaway, Count Fleet, Assault, Citation, Secretariat, Seattle Slew, Affirmed, American Pharaoh, and, Justify. The Justify did it back in 2018. But I forgot about Justify. But, these are all great names. These names, like Journalism, I think, you're not going to have a horse named Journalism win.
And I loved how the current administration was just borderline gleeful on X. After
for race, Sovereignty?
Sovereignty beat Journalism.
You're right. You knew that was going to happen. But anyway, congrats to Sovereignty. And, we actually have Joe Friedberg, who was a great attorney, and he had given us, because he had thoroughbreds, and he had given us one of the horses that he had who was a descendant of Secretariat, and my son had her basically, had her hook up with a terrific barrel racing quarter horse they call them an appendix when they're thoroughbreds and quarter horses. This horse can be spectacular. Maybe there's the name. Spectacular. Although Spectacular Bid never won. That I thought was a great name, but I don't think that one had the Triple Crown. Anyway, all right, let's go to item 2.
Item 2.
Your Wolves, right?
The Wolves in the Wild. Yeah, we've got the unfortunately the Wild season came to the end on Saturday.
Yep.
But the Wolves have been kind of chilling, waiting to see who they're going to play in round 2, and I think it's a good matchup for them. They're going to be playing Golden State, which was the 7 seed. The Wolves were the 6 seeds. Golden State being the 7 seed. So the Wolves have home court for this round, which is good. They've got, Golden State has a lot of talent. They've got a lot of playoff experience. They also now have Jimmy Butler, so we get that angle thrown into things. I was doing some reading online yesterday and late last night and this morning, Bob, and I haven't seen a prediction yet, which doesn't have the Wolves winning, but I do think it's going to go 6 or 7 games. This is going to be a long series.
Here's the thing. Virtually everybody in the media picked the Lakers to win in like 5, and how'd that go? And here's the kiss of death for the Wolves. I think they're gonna sweep. Not about sweep, but I mean, I just think that this is an older Warriors team, and that congratulations for coming up in Game 7. But as I mentioned earlier, because I was talking to Dave Bialke about it, this Warriors team, I mean, you come off an emotional Game 7, and you have 1 day's break, and then you have to play Game 1. They're going to be whipped.
Yeah, that's I think is kind of an X factor for the Wolves, is because they finished the Lakers off as quickly as they did. They got a couple days of rest before they have to start this series. So, like I said, I think it's going to go 6 or 7, but I do think the Wolves are gonna pull it out. It's funny because when we went into the playoff season, I predicted the Wild had a better shot of moving on, because I thought with the guys that were injured over the season that their ranking wasn't exactly where it should be, but they just ended up kind of the same place where they always are, and now there's some big decisions to be made in the offseason, because you can't use the Parise and Suter contracts anymore as an excuse. Bill Guerin's going to have to go out. He's going to have to. You got to sign Kaprizov to a max contract, but you can't stop there. You are going to have to sign some more players.
Yeah, you got to put more. Obviously, it was borne out. You need it.
Yeah, you can't use that anymore. The dead cap space is gone. They're going to have to go out and put some talent on that team. But let's try to avoid the mistakes of the past. When they went and did the Parise Suter deals, they just spent crazy amounts of money on the top 2 free agents, and how did that work out? It didn't.
Well, now I want to go back to the Wolves. The Wolves are at a very important junction in their maturation, or basically in the development of this current team. What they need to prove is that they can handle success. And that, to me, has been the biggest problem for, other than the Twins, and we're going over 30 years ago, that has been the problem for every team in town. The Vikings, they show us they can't handle success. They showed us the last 2 years, especially this past year. They have a chance to have the best record in football and home field throughout. They blow it in Detroit and then get destroyed by the Rams. And this Wolves team last year too, I mean, they could have gone to the NBA Finals, but I think it's like, oh, wow, look how far we went. And they just not go that extra step or take that step. Now they have to prove they can do it again. And I'll tell you, if they do it against LeBron and Steph Curry with Jimmy Buckets too, that's impressive. That they would have taken these 2 guys out if they can do it. And again, sorry, Wolves, kiss of death. I think they're going to do it because I thought they're.
I do too, and I think I think it would be a good extra next step for them to be able to go back-to-back Western Conference Finals. I don't harbor any delusions that they're going to knock off Oklahoma.
If they get there, there's a very good chance that they certainly can. I mean, they're going to play the team that knocked off the 2nd seed. Now,
never say never.
Nope. Now let's move over to item 3. A kid named Kody Clemens, Roger Clemens kid. You know what? The kid decided he's not a pitcher, but he can hit some. He had a home run on Saturday.
Yeah, I've been so tuned out of the Twins because of how poorly they've been doing. I didn't even realize this had happened. So Kody Clemens is Roger Clemens' son, and had been with Philadelphia. And I guess at the end of last month, Philadelphia traded him to their Twins for like cash considerations or something. It was a whatever. So they're playing at Fenway over the weekend, and Dad's in the stands. Red Sox legend Roger Clemens.
Yep.
And Kody hits a home run for the Twins. So that was just kind of a cool story. I had to include it because I honestly didn't know Roger Clemens' kid was a Twin.
He's also, but look at it. His dad was built like a power hitter, even though he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Yep.
So it's, the kid's got there's some genetics at work there, right? And he's a little leaner than Dad. Although I guess Clemens, when he was younger, was fairly lean.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you know what? It's a great story to have done it in Fenway. Now what he has to do is do it at Yankee Stadium, too. Because Dad played a little bit there as well. All right.
Yep.
Jeff, as always, greatly appreciated. Attorney Jeff O'Brien. We'll take a quick break. The BS Show will be right back.
This is Bob Sansevere, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialke from Bialke Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialke Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkelaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com. If you or someone you know has a plumbing, heating, or air conditioning issue, there's only one place to go. Sabre Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. This is Bob Sansevere, and Sabre Heating is my go-to place for plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. And if I have any questions, I just pick up the phone and call, or I go to saberheating.com. Sabre has a great offer for you. If another company tells you you need a new air conditioner or furnace, you get in touch with Sabre, and they will send a technician for free, no cost, and let you know if you actually do, because sometimes other people are wrong. Any issues, whether, again, it's plumbing, heating, or air conditioning, go to saberheating.com, S-A-B-R-E heating.com, or call 763-473-2267.